Hello, welcome to Star Wars Spelt Out. I'm your host, Josh Chapman, and today I'm in Brunswick. Where am I? I'm in Brunswick.
You're in Brunswick.
I'm in Brunswick. I'm in this cool-looking warehousey studio thing where all the cool kids do their work. I don't know exactly what it's called, but I got dragged down here.
It's a place called Path Hunting. It's a co-working space.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
It's a co-working space, and I was lucky enough to be brought in by my boy Matt Grant from Blue Banther Milk and his trusty partner Sean.
Yep.
Sean Fallon, is it?
Sean Fallon?
Yep. Sorry, should always check surnames before I go and think. I was like, oh, I got it back there. It's like the Abbott and Costello, or the Laurel and Hardy, or the. I'm trying to think of other famous double acts.
Trump and Pence.
Does that imply that one's in charge? And I was trying to think of ones where it's a little bit more of an equal.
Yeah. I was going to say Leopold and Loeb, but I think that's a
Chaz and Dave.
Chaz and Dave.
For our British listeners, there'll be a few people who'll get that. Yeah. And they've got a nice little studio set up here where we've been doing some stuff for their YouTube channel, which has been quite interesting. Podcast people, we get cameras, we're we're getting sunlight put on us and stuff. But
we've got the tanning lamp over there to give us that kind of thing. It's
quite a cavernous space actually. It's not warm in Melbourne tonight. I'm kind of going how the hell they heat this thing? But
pretty amazing.
We're all trying to look cool on camera and have our Star Wars t-shirts on and stuff. And then
I've got pasties on under this, so you don't see how
as soon as
we're
Sean and I, as soon as the camera went off, we're like, all right, quick, let's put a jumper on here and let's get nice and.
When you got in the corner and you were like just huddling
over the lamp, trying to get warm. So speaking of the blues, how's them post celebration blues going, mate?
The blues.
Well, it's sort of weird here because it's sort of we've got the sort of I went to celebration and I'm home blues, and I didn't even get to go to celebration. I just had to hear about it blues.
The blues are kind of. They're dissipating a little bit, but it's purely, I think, just because of how busy I think we're all going to be as a result of celebration. I think while I was away, Sean, you and I were chatting pretty on the reg, weren't we?
Oh yeah, no, and because of the time difference, I would sort of, I would just keep messaging you once we went to bed. And then I'd wake up with replies and more messages, and we just constantly...
Yeah, it was like a changeover, and we'd just have ideas while we're while I was away. We'd be throwing ideas at each other for things.
It was just the idea is, hey Matt, get more photos with people dressed as stormtroopers.
Basically,
that was
basically,
I can do that.
It's midnight here, but I just had this idea: more stormtroopers.
It was kind of a thing because so background to all of this is so the channel's been around now for, it'll be a year in July, but it'll only be since a year in July this year, and it'll only be actually since November-ish that we were really doing anything serious. And by that I mean it's I was doing it kind of haphazardly. I'd done one serious video, there's lots of ideas, but Sean didn't come on until about November.
Yep.
We'd been speaking about it before that, pretty seriously on and off. And then I think while I was on holiday in Japan, we kind of decided, I think, did we?
It was,
or we said, we're going to do this when we get back.
So were you guys mates before all this, or did you sort of meet through
No, we're not even mates now. No, we met through the Blue Banther Milk Co. Facebook page.
Yep.
Because I was just dicking around on Facebook and saw them and thought I'd
which is it's now called the Star Wars Community Co-op because we've co-opted the name.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then you were... I think we got in the pub. We went to the pub.
Yeah. Well, we'd had a couple meetups as part of that group, and you were kind of enthusiastic as hell, I think is the term.
Yeah.
You turned up to them and we drank more than others.
Yep.
Definitely.
Yep. And then we came here and did a video. We did the first videos, which were favorite moments. Talking about Clone Wars. Just talking generally about Star Wars and all that, and it was loads of fun. And then went to the pub, and you pitched the idea of co-hosting, and I was like,
So you already had your tickets to Celebration before then? So you were already sort of pot committed before then, or was it a thing where you were like, I'm going, do you want to go? Or like, oh, I'm already going?
Well, I'd already bought the ticket. So the tickets were June, I think, weren't they?
Yeah.
So I'd had the ticket for a month, and basically, like, I think it was around that day of buying the tickets or somewhere in that week where I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do a YouTube channel. Like, I didn't want to do a podcast because I was... no offense
takes
to
a
all
very
you
special
podcasters.
type of skill to do a podcast, man. I don't know if you know that, but
there's a ton of you doing it, and I was like, nah,
throw a rock and you'll hear the Star Wars podcast. I mean, that was the good thing about Celebration. That when I do this, and sometimes it can be hard to find guests because I don't have a co-host. But the whole idea was I liked just having people on. It was people who were like really Star Warsy, or just friends I know who don't know much. But you're always like, all right, who can I get? Who can I call? Who can I do to do this? And then at Celebration, it was like, oh, does anybody want to do it? Yep. Put that mic in my face. Yes, I've got things to say. So it was never short of having people who want to come on. So it's quite a nice luxury in that sense.
And we don't necessarily get that luxury very easily, do we? No. Like it's
You're also telling people you're going to put a camera in their face as well. So,
well, I mean, there's that. There's definitely that aspect to it. But I mean, like you start the conversation, and I was telling Sean earlier, like this was part of the Celebration chat with people. It was like you give them a sticker, and they, like, no shit, they 9 times out of 10 said, "What's the name of your podcast?" And then I have to have that awkward conversation. It's like, I'm actually a YouTuber, but don't run. Don't run away.
I'm not going to do a prank on you. It's not.
I'm not going to snap a rose teak old doll in front of you.
I'm not going to put a MAGA hat on and, like, God, like that was an interesting set of conversations because that came up so often. And I was like,
right. And, so I just kind of handed stuff and just walked away. Really, I didn't realize some stuff because I had swag stuff as well. So I had obviously the beanies, but they went to friends, and then sort of friends of friends or new friends and things like that, and they went pretty quick. And then I had the buttons, and I would basically just sort of, they kind of have that those 2 alleys at Celebration where it's all the fan clubs and stuff. So I kind of went down there and made sure I gave stuff to everybody there, and you kind of get stuff back and things. And then if I was in a line or standing somewhere and I saw people, basically I was sort of gravitating towards the people who looked like they had a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, oh, look, they've got like stacks of pins. They look like that they would be open to having a pin. So that was basically like anytime I saw that, or I saw kids that had a lot of pins, I'd be like, oh, would you like a pin? Or a lot of the time I would ask the parents.
Yeah.
If I saw a bunch of kids with pins and I saw them with parents, I'd say, oh, would your son or daughter like a pin?
Yeah.
Rather than just go straight to them, because I just thought, well, that might be. And I had the sexy chronic stickers as well, but they were just sort of pick your audience and stuff as well. So I have mentioned on the Celebration blog pods that I gave one of those to Bobby Moynihan, and he quite enjoyed that. So that was he got the last pin that I had on the last day because he was shopping with Donald Faison. I just ran up. I
met him that day.
Yeah,
I was standing there with Claire Stribling and and her boyfriend Steve, and we were just standing there with the Star Wars Underworld booth, and then Donald Faison just walks past, and there's Bobby Moynihan, and they're shaking hands, and I shook his hand. I was like, oh, what the heck?
It was weird because I was just walking around, and then I ran into Dallas from Bad Murmur. He's like, bro, did you see Bobby Moynihan's shopping over there? And I'm like, oh, all right, I'm just going to go over and just said, oh, g'day, would you like a Star Wars pin? He's like, oh, I love Star Wars pins. And I said, oh, would you like a Director Krennic sticker? And he looks at it, he just goes, ooh, I like this, which was cool. And then I asked for a photo, but they had like a minor going, oh, no, because which is fair enough because people pay to do photos. I was oh, dude, totally get it, no worries at all. Yeah. Shook his hand, said, love the work on SNL, and it faded off into the night, really. Yeah. So that was cool, getting to do that. But as far as I didn't really elaborate on the podcast stuff, but I was surprised that there was more than one person who actually listened. Randoms.
That was surprising.
Which was very surprising because I was going, well, I wasn't I mean, I suppose it's more likely at a Star Wars convention you'd run into someone who listens, but I'm convinced it's just all friends of friends or people who've hit subscribe once and then just left it. So it was quite funny when people
recognize you and stuff.
Yeah.
Like know what it is. And
the beanie certainly helped the recognition factor. And a lot of people, I got stopped about the beanies probably more than anything afterwards, which was cool. But they're done now. So I got back to Melbourne and I didn't have any left. I didn't even have my own anymore when I got back.
You gave
I gave Dallas the last one, because he missed out because I overlooked him. I thought he had one on the first night, and I gave him the last one. And then I got back home, sort of unpacked the bag and went, oh, yeah, there's 3 in the box still, or 4 in the box. So I set out, had my little shelf, and I put out all my things. Yeah. I'll put up all my toys and figures, and I thought, I'll open the bag and I'll just put one beanie on there. And so I think there's 2 or 3 left. So I think I know where they're going to go. I'll probably keep one more spare for myself. And then I've got 2 that I'll probably give away. Well, I won't say who they are because they might be listening, so it might be a little surprise for them.
Sean, I think we need to absolutely get in before Josh because we did the calico bags and we gave out. Oh, I gave out how many of them? I think
I got one.
I had 20.
Yeah,
20 of those bags all up. All 20 gone. They went similar to you. People that were. I knew I was getting, people I was like, they're getting a bag, and but we've got to get in with something better than his beanies because the bags were fully functional and useful, but what I noticed with the people that whipped them out were carrying many bags. So they would have 3 shoulder bags full of stuff every day, and it gets covered, whereas those beanies were there. Yeah. You could spot them.
But it was cold as well. It was the whole logic behind them was that, all right, what's something that will be unique, that it'll be cold, it's Australian as well. It was a play on sort of the old AFL footy beanies from the 80s and things. It's it's very unique with the pom-poms. They're probably not going to have those specific, you better give them out and they might get worn if it's cold and all that kind of thing. So it worked really well. But I think it's impossible to try and chase, because people, as soon as Anaheim was announced, people were going all right, well, what are you doing next year? What are you going to do? And I'm just going, well, I don't know. I'll think of something, but I'm not going to be trying to be all right, we're going to top it. Next year we're doing capes or we're doing it. It's got to be...
That's all right, because we're going to top it.
Yeah, right. Well, if you guys can think of something, then that's great. But it's got to be something that's practical that you can take over that...
I reckon baseball caps with built-in fans. Because it's got... Yeah, I don't know where we'll put branding because we'll have to also strap solar panels to them so that they don't have to be battery operated.
Yeah, I mean, hat related is because it is going to be sunny. So, I mean, that's sort of where my brain goes. And I was trying to find a way to tie in 40th anniversary of Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah,
so I was trying to tie that. So I was thinking of sort of visors stuff that can kind of look like Hoth helmets.
Oh, yeah.
Did you mention that? I think
I sort of talked
almost
about...
like the gambling visors.
Yeah, but I was sort of... Because they've got those kind of... Because it's also going to be stuff that you can get wholesalers to do. So, so that... Because if you can kind of get that off-white colour and you can kind of get the goggle print on them and stuff, they might work. But again, it's how much is that going to cost to do? Because I won't go into the exact details, but the beanies... cost.
We
spoke about what it actually
cost.
They were
similar,
and I was happy to. I was happy to do it because I really wanted to do it, but at the same time, it's I probably will, because I was kind of maybe I'll just do something like sweatbands or something smaller, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Or I won't do anything. I'll just go and just do some pins.
I thought how we could. I've just thought of a way that we could actually keep all of our costs down. And we could get all of the Aussies that have podcasts, or in our case, a show, and we'll get a brimmed cork hanging hat, and we'll just put our badges on it. So we'll have woven badges for all of our shows on these cork
almost
hats.
Like a, what you could do is you could do were you guys ever in the Scouts or the Cubs?
Yeah.
No, I wasn't.
Oh, well, here we go. I was in the Cubs and the Scouts. So you'd have your Scout shirt and you'd basically get your achievement badges and stuff like that.
Oh, that's
so you could do
idea.
a khaki shirt because the Scout, at least in Australia, there were the green khaki shirts.
Yeah.
And then you almost lay them out like a Scout thing. So it's you've got your achievement badges. So you've got your blue Bantha badge and you've got your spelt out badge and your Geek
that's a
Pod
good
badge.
idea.
And, I mean, you can't really mass produce that for people, but it could be quite a cool. And whether they're iron-on or so. I mean, if you're sitting there at 1 a.m, second night of celebration, sewing badges onto your shirt. So like, I'm going to get there. Someone's going to ask you about it tomorrow. It only takes one person to ask you about it. So it's a good thing to think about. It was funny, like the moment celebration kind of ended, and they just went Anaheim. It was like the brain. I spent
straight to it.
I was back at work this week, and like within the second hour of being back at work, and nothing was going on. It was just quiet because it was a long weekend here, so a lot of people didn't bother turning up. I was just like looking at flights to Anaheim and looking. I was like looking at Google Maps, going, all right, well, the convention center's here, conceivably, accommodation nearby, and doing all this kind of like getting my brain in that, and started thinking about those things already, which is crazy. Like literally was there 2 weeks ago.
But it's
like that. That's like, and like I know it's different. There's like normal holiday blues, but that sort of thing of like finishing a holiday and just spending the next week getting ready for the next holiday, like just. Ready to get into
it's like when you go on holiday and you eat and then you're thinking about your next meal even before you finish the meal that you're eating. Especially if you go to somewhere like, Spain or Italy or France where the food's amazing. You're just like, well, I'm having an amazing meal, but where am I going to have my next amazing meal?
Literally like eating the food with a map. Just like,
where am I going to go next time? And now that, with the internet, you can just look at these things going, all right, walking distance from here to here to Anaheim. Like I was looking at stuff like, will I need to hire a car for Anaheim? Will it make sense to hire a minivan?
I don't know.
Because if you're at LA, do you drive that way, or do you get as close as you can and just Uber it? And I think
we've got to try and get as close as we can get. It's not the same from what I know about it. It's not going to be the same kind of issue as you had with Chicago, like where you've got kind of the hotels connected to the convention center, and then like kind of a band around it. That separates that downtown area from everywhere else, because like you were either staying at McCormick Place, or at least a $10 or $12 cab ride away, and then further. That was kind of
we were up in Wrigleyville, which was north. We were not miles away, but it was a good sort of 40-minute
miles
commute.
away. No.
Yeah, it was a few miles away, but it wasn't sort of like ages and ages. But we weren't next door, So we were making one trip a day. So we were going there. I know people who had hotels would go like, "Oh, we'll just go for a bit," and I go to my hotel and I come back and I do, which is fine. But I'd like the idea that you were sort of pot committed and you did that. But at the same time, it meant that when we went back, we sort of socialised up there for the most part, because the Bad Motivators party house was right near us as well. So it meant that we could, we did a lot of after hours socialising because they were all there. So we were thinking about stuff like, well, they had the party house, there were like 15 people, like awesome, good times. But it was kind of like, the party never stopped. And you need the party to, like, the thing that's like, we went back to our house, we had just the five of us in our little, it was quite a nice little flat. And,
it was.
But
nice.
It was like, everybody would get home and would be wrecked. It'd be sort of 1 o'clock, I'd make everybody record for 10 minutes. Everybody would get in their pajamas, have a cup of tea. And it was all very like, all right, we're going to bed. We'll see everybody about, 8:39, we'll get up and, and whereas we were sort of hearing stories going, some people were partying till 2, some people, and they had like people on the floor and doing all that kind of stuff. And so you until everybody's down, a lot of people aren't down. I'm going, I don't want to do that. Conserving energy at the right times was, I think, was key. I know you sort of had a slightly different sort of, you were in a hotel.
I was at the Congress where it turned out like bloody everyone was staying there, and that downstairs bar was busy pretty much every night.
Was this the haunted place?
Yeah. Which I didn't know was haunted. So I'd been listening to all the podcasts, yours included.
Yeah, well, I had Hawes on, and he was like, buddy, I'm staying in the haunted hotel, and I'm scared as hell.
So I think in I don't remember in yours you actually saying the name of the haunted hotel.
I don't think I did. Like, I think he just said it, because I didn't know. Hawes just said he was
calling it the haunted hotel.
Yeah, well, Hawes just kept saying it was the haunted hotel.
I asked about it, and then the response I got was listen to the episode. So I listened to the episode. I didn't remember hearing it. So then I asked on Twitter, and someone said a name of a different hotel. I think it was called the Drake.
Right.
Yeah, it was called the Drake.
Oh,
and so
Mission Impossible. Sorry, continue.
So I looked it up. and was like, oh yeah, the Drake's this haunted hotel. And then the day I was checking in, I said something about it on Twitter. I was like, yeah, checking into the Congress. And who said it? I think it's that guy Plo Cool on Twitter. He messaged me. I want to say it was him. I'm pretty sure it was him. It was messaging me going, "You're in the haunted hotel." I'm like, "No, I'm not in the Drake. I'm in the Congress Plaza." So then I Googled it.
You're in the really haunted hotel.
So it's like the list of the top 20 most haunted places in Chicago. Number 1.
Congress Hotel.
Not the Congress Hotel. No. Number 1 hotel, the Congress Plaza.
Yeah.
So it was, what was it? It was like the water pump station somewhere there in the middle of downtown, which I walked past. Apparently it's the most haunted. There was one other place, and then the Congress Plaza, then the Drake.
Right.
And I was like, oh, great. And I was like, okay,
One more up.
If you're staying on floor 12 in the South Tower, that's where the stuff happens. That's where the magic happens. And then so I go and check in, and they're like, and you're in the South Tower today. And I'm like, which floor? And they're like, 14. I'm like, yes. And I said to her,
That's still pretty close. Minus 2, joke's on you.
and I was like, wait a second, is there even a 413? There's probably not a 413.
So you're one closer.
So I'm one closer. I'm like, it's below me, whatever it is. And I said to her, I go, that's the haunted tower. And she just looked at me. The woman behind the desk just looks at me and she just goes, smile. I don't know anything about that. Sir.
We don't talk about that.
And I'm like, you have to say that, surely you have to say that.
Yeah.
And she's gone,
But you
that was it. That was her response. She goes,
She's like,
You could've
celebrations
gone,
on.
You've always been here.
Yeah.
You know.
Celebrations on. Where are you going to go, man?
Suck it up.
You're going to be in the
Go
bunker
for
room
celebration.
with me and Turbo.
I was like if it was that bad, like it wasn't not a cheap hotel, but it was all I could get at the time. It worked out really well. Like position was great and it was comfortable and all that. It was old school as it had like one of those gigantic walk-in robes, you know, from like back in the day where people would travel with luggage the size of a car.
Yeah, right.
To stack the luggage and all that, like huge.
trunk type thing, yeah.
A toilet that's so low that it's like below.
Did it have like the
it's
chain
mid-shins.
kind of?
No, I didn't have a chain.
Well, let's not get started on. Let's not get started on American toilets. God, take some water out of them, guys. Seriously.
I prefer it.
Really?
Yeah, because it's the same amount of water. It's just that they only need a small amount to tip it over the edge and make it flush.
Nice.
Whereas we go the opposite. We go start with that amount of water that they add. We start with the little amount and then throw water on top and make soup.
That gets it out. The
I love
plop and splash on your bum when you're doing a... Yeah.
I love it.
You're like, bring it on. I
on
wait all
American
day
toilets.
just to get that sensation.
Yeah. Wait, once a year I get to go to the States.
The Congress,
and use those toilets.
we were at the Congress the Wednesday night, which was really great. That was sort of everybody
was good.
Great, congregated there. And I think the impetus originally was... I think Hawes was staying there, and everyone to sort of get. It was easy to get to Hawes because he's in a wheelchair, so it's easy to get to him rather than make him come up to us. So and then it just was like, well, that's just central. So a lot of people sort of gravitated to that. So that Wednesday night, the first night, was really good just to break the ice with people. But it didn't even feel like breaking the ice. It just felt like you're going, "Hello, old friend," and it was just full of sort of 50 Star Wars internet people.
Yeah.
What a good old time.
Podcast personalities and
Podcast personalities.
Yeah.
I guess you can't say celebrity. You can say person.
I almost said it.
You're drawing a very long bow on that one.
It was interesting. Like, I mean, I think I was probably similar deal because I was up late that night, so I was messaging you and I was going, "This person is here, this person is here, and now I'm the blah blah." Like I was rotten by the end
I'd
of
been
that.
up for something like 33 hours straight by the time I got home because I'd flown in that morning, so I'd been up, 8 a.m. flight from Melbourne, got in 8 a.m. the same day, then flew from LA to Chicago, got to the place, and then the other guys sort of turned up and we had a quick walk around, and then we went up to the Bad Motivators, and I'm going, all right, this is great, meeting people, awesome, and then they're going, oh, we're going to go to this hotel. I'm going, I should go to bed. I really should go to bed. I'm going,
I'll be there.
Nah, it's first night, gotta go. It's preview day, because the only thing that was sort of keeping us was because we hadn't had our passes yet. So we were a bit like, well, we've got to go to a will call. What do they call I don't know why they call it will call. It's
will call. Yeah, you have to go pick things up from the thing.
Which is just like the
will call.
Yeah, it's called will call.
WILL.
Yeah. So I'm not quite sure why it's called that, but that's just like the information or I don't know, whatever they call it. So it's just where you went to if you'd pre-ordered a ticket but you hadn't had it delivered. So it was just sitting there waiting for you, basically.
Yeah. And you had to like your pre-order merch, like this T-shirt was there.
So you could kind of say,
Yeah, like so let's go pick that stuff up there.
So we had this whole thing of going, because we were fully prepared for everybody kept saying lines. You're going to be in a line. You're going to live in a line. So we were going, we better get there earlier because we could be 2 hours in this line waiting to get in to get our passes, and we walk up and there's like one person in front of us. So we just walked up, went, oh, here's my QR code. They went, oh, there you go, welcome to Celebration. And then the doors didn't open for another 2 hours, and we went out and had Subway because we,
I think you did it the right way because like I was really worried that like the advice was don't try and do it on day one. It's going to be nuts. Turned out no, because everyone read that advice and turned up on Wednesday to pick up their stuff. And so the line was crazy.
Oh, so you went on Wednesday, did you?
Yeah, I went on the Wednesday.
Right.
Yeah, so that was before turning up.
Like I would have gone if I had the time and not been so tired. And like we talked about going, maybe we'll mission down and get it. And I'm going to have to mission down and get it anyway. If I'm going to be in lines, it's just one more line that I'll be in. And then there was nothing.
You did the right thing, really.
Well, I'll do it again. I don't see any reason to not do it again next time. Like I know people, I think it was like $25, I think it was, to post it. Did you get yours posted?
I got my ticket posted.
Yeah.
But that was it. Everything else I had to pick up.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool.
So I think for next time, well, for next year, and this is the thing that really threw me. Obviously, I was not expecting only a 12-month turnaround, but
that's that put me in a bit of a spin because I was sort of prepared for the.
Well, everyone was going, movies are done. At least for next year, there'll be no movie unless they pull absolutely something out of the hat. But it's looking like, doesn't really seem like the way that they do things. They just spring a surprise movie out of nowhere on you.
No.
So
it'll be TV stuff.
Well, there'll be TV stuff.
A year of announcements.
Well, that's the thing. We were sort of talking about like what would you see?
And Empire as well. Like
we'll be 40th anniversary Empire panel. I don't know who you would get for that. I mean, Irvin Kershner's no longer around.
No.
George Lucas doesn't seem to turn up to these things.
Yeah, Frank Oz. Frank Oz.
Billy D. Hamill.
Mark,
Anthony Daniels will turn up to anything.
And take over.
Take over the whole thing.
Yeah. I suppose you get some old ILM guys. Kershner. Actually, Irvin Kershner. Not Irvin Kershner.
No,
bloody.
No.
He's dead. Friggin' blah, blah, writer. Kasdan.
Yeah.
Kasdan can be there.
So you could certainly get enough.
You can definitely get a panel together, and you never know.
Like, just give me some. Just dig out some, like, behind the scenes stock footage or alternate takes or something that we haven't seen. Like, just chuck a little bit of that, or like give me a little taste of that footage. There must still be some archive stuff there that people haven't seen. Just some B-roll or something.
But the usual kind of, there'll be new books, there'll be new. Well, hopefully, I don't know if you guys read it. The From a Certain Point of View that they did for New Hope.
I haven't read it. I know what you're talking about.
I've got it. I haven't read it yet.
It's very good. The Mos Eisley stuff's quite samey, but for the most part, it's excellent. So I really hope they drop one of them. That'd be great.
Yeah, people were talking about that as something that could conceptually happen. That would be cool.
Well, I think not enough to hold an entire celebration around.
No.
Yeah. Well, the thing, I mean, the Phantom Menace panel was fine, but it wasn't exactly groundbreaking. It
wasn't mind-blowing.
Just watching stuff that was on the DVD, stuff that we'd heard before, because I think that was a little bit a victim of the hype that people were going, Ewan McGregor's going to be there and and all this stuff, and there was never any indication Ewan McGregor was going to be there. It was always just
that was all.
And the thing was that people didn't want him there for Phantom Menace. They want him there to be like, I'm doing Obi-Wan Kenobi television show. That was the only reason they wanted him there. They weren't there to be like, we don't really give a crap if you talk about Phantom Menace. We want you to announce Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah. That's why we want you there. And that obviously didn't happen. So, so 40th anniversary.
Maybe
Mandalorian. Well, Mandalorian season 2, Cassian Andor TV show.
Yeah.
Resistance Season 3. I mean, Clone Wars will be done by then.
They may announce like what the new trilogy stuff's going to be.
Well, that could be the hot panel, the future panel. Like if they said Rian Johnson's doing a panel.
Yeah.
Oh,
like that's the hot panel.
yeah. Like seriously, I'll give up my left testicle for that. Like that's both if I have to. I don't like. No, maybe not both, but.
I mean,
you might still need them, mate. I could give up mine easily now without any problems. Now I'm not having more children. So.
Yeah, I might freeze.
They've served their purpose. They're purely ornamental now.
I mean, is the whole thing really having it in Anaheim just to get people over for Galaxy's Edge? I mean,
Galaxy's Edge doesn't need people. It's not as if they're going, we really got to fill this Galaxy's Edge.
No, well, that's what I was saying to you before, like about the the 4 panels at this celebration, and one of the main 4 being Galaxy's Edge, and you're like, we were as hyped as we're ever going to be for that.
Yeah,
we don't need more for that.
What they've got to do, or what they should do, is because I know you can do like things where companies book out Disney, like in the evenings and stuff.
So
that's the thing where they want to go Saturday night. Everybody gets a ticket, and everybody can just go to Disney. So you can, if you're there on the Saturday, if you've got a 5-day, or stuff, you can go. We'll keep Disney open from 9:30 till 1 a.m. and you can have run of the park, and you can do nighttime Disney. Well,
that's worth the price of admission.
That would be off the chart if they did that.
And that would make sense, because I do feel
I get my pickle on a stick.
Yeah, and everybody can have a walk. Like everybody won't get in, but everybody can walk through Galaxy's Edge, or at least have a look around.
Yeah.
We're not going. Not everyone's going to get on the rides because there's too many freaking people. But we'll keep the bars open. You can go through. You can buy a T-shirt. You can do this, and it's just it'll have the 30,000 Star Wars fans or whoever's there. How many they get into the day?
Yeah.
And if they do that and they tie it around, or if they just say, hey, you got a 5-day pass, you've actually got 5 nights, we'll do it every night of celebration, you can nominate a night you want to do it.
Something like that would be just amazing. I love Disneyland at night.
I've never been to Disneyland, but
never been.
No.
Night, no.
Have you not been?
Well, the thing is,
I've been to Disney
World. Yeah.
I was away for 2 weeks, which was a long trip. It's tough when you got little kids to be away that long. And, coming back, and I've, sort of said to Kat, it's a great time, and they're going to do it all again next year. They're going to do it next year. And she's great. She's just like, all right, well, yep, I think we can do this. I don't think it's going to be a problem. Like you had such a great time. I see no reason why we can't do it. We survived this. But I was a bit like, well, I think I'll just go for the convention and I'll come home. I don't need to tack on another trip on the end to do that, because the logic was that celebration was over by the Monday, everyone's leaving on the Tuesday. If I fly back, I'm back sort of Wednesday, Thursday. I might as well just come back on the Sunday, take an extra day and be away, because what am I doing at work for one more day? It doesn't really make much difference. But I think it was just it's more like a family being back to support the family, but kind of going, all right, well, if I go this time and I do, like maybe if I could do one day and do Disney the last day, I might go, all right, well, I'll stay one extra day and I'll go to Disneyland on the last day and then I'll be satisfied.
Yeah.
But if they're going, hey, you get to go to Disney at night as part of your ticket, and, I'm like, all right, I get to ride the teacups or do something.
Brilliant.
Eventually I'll go back and I'll take the girls when they're big enough. There's no point taking a 3-year-old and a 4-month-old to Disneyland.
No. And you see people that do, and like parents need to go out.
Yeah. Oh, look, if you're one of those people who lives near there and you've got like a year pass and you go down there just for shits and giggles, great. But if if you're coming from Australia and it's your family trip and you're dropping thousands of dollars and you spend the whole time, one kid's cracked it and doesn't want to do this, or the other one's, it's just too hard. You want them to be. My cousin took his kids over and they were sort of 10 and 13 or something. It's like, then they'll appreciate it and they'll remember it, and you'll be number one dad.
Yeah, that's it. Well, it's I definitely want to go next year. I've just got to factor in. I've got a wedding that I've got to go to in South Africa in February, so I've got to make it work. But like I said, I also pitched it to my wife, and she gave me at first she was sort of gave me a shrug. And then I sort of pitched it a bit more, and I've now got to, never say never. So I'm getting closer.
I was actually, I didn't really, Kat was just like, and the funny thing was with Celebration was that, I'd sort of bought the ticket and was ready to go, and then we found out that we were pregnant with baby number 2, and I went and did the math, and I'm going, she's going to be like 3.5 months old when when I'm gone. And all right. And she's just like, that's all right. Work it out. Grandma's down the road.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. You know, and then work, I just made sure I had the leave sort of there and I did it and was like, all right, that's done. So, you know, costs, it pretty much cost what I thought it was going to cost. We were quite lucky. Our accommodation wasn't that expensive. We got really lucky on the Airbnb.
Yeah.
So that cut a lot of cost off.
Yeah. That's my biggest regret, actually, was not jumping on accommodation quicker.
Yeah.
In a sense, because while I'm glad I was close, like close enough, made it very convenient, and I was very glad, like just the credit card bill when like looking at a whole third of my entire trip, and bearing in mind I was in the US for 3 weeks.
Yep.
I had a 2-week break before celebration.
Yeah.
Like a third of my entire trip's expenses after flights and whatnot that I'd prepaid a year ago is just that credit.
My 3 nights in San Fran I paid more for 3 nights in San Fran easily than I paid for the accommodation and celebration.
Oh, that's crazy.
And
I think the thing next year, hopefully, fingers crossed, because this goes back to my travel agent days, my dark travel agent days.
You were a travel agent.
I was a travel agent for 9 months.
It
was real bad. Don't want to go into it, but it was real bad. But Anaheim is just hotels, isn't it? Anaheim is
pretty much
just hotels and Disneyland.
Yeah.
You know, that's going to be the thing. Like, there's some really expensive ones, and obviously no one's going to stay at Hotel Disney, you know, but there's places, there's little motels and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be different in terms
And the thing is, they have stuff on all the time. So it's not like they're going to go, celebrations here. You know,
it's not like here, you know, like you think about how I don't know,
Grand Prix and things like
Grand
that.
Prix happens and all that, and like, you know, it basically shuts down the entire city to a degree. Well, literally it does because they have to close the roads, but you know, the infrastructure here can barely handle the people that live in Melbourne at the best of times.
Yeah.
And it's kind of good that we are so far away and our convention centre is a decent size, but
it could handle it.
It could handle it.
The plenary room seats. Was it
plenary?
The theatre that sits 5,500.
Yeah.
So you could do it.
Well, when I was a travel agent,
back to the dark days.
Travel expos at the convention centre, that was such a big hall.
Yeah.
You
know, and they would have like, you know, you could go and sit in the first class seats and all that, and they'd have like a whole plane.
Yeah.
So you could definitely.
Oh look, I've been in there for the Oz Comic Con, and I think they had half of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right. It's pretty big space, and they filled it, and they don't have the stuff that Celebration had. But I did go to the auto show there with my dad years ago, and they had the whole thing, and it was pretty like it felt comparable to that room.
Yeah.
It felt newer. Like the McCormick place felt a bit more tired in places. Like I think they could do it, but it's. I just don't think it's practical to do something in Australia because you've got to bring everybody over there, like vendors, your Hasbros, all that kind of stuff. And then, but the thing is also, it's not just the like your Hasbros, your Legos. It's all the other vendors.
Yeah.
So it's all the toy sellers and all that kind of stuff. It's like, well, where do you get them from? Do you just get Joe toy seller from, you know, out in the sticks to come in, or like where do you get all this extra people selling all this stock? And they have it because, you know, the good thing was like buying figures was like, well, all the exclusives and stuff you could get, they brought all that stuff, they had it.
Yeah.
Like Australia's got so little of that anyway. It's like you go there and go, oh, I've just got the same.
It's all distribution here, right? So whenever there's a big Comic-Con, it's who is it? It's Pop Culture. Like Pop Culture usually has the largest stall and those things because they have the exclusive rights to pretty much everything.
Yeah, but if people come here to Celebration and they've got like, you know, they're charging $80 for a Black Series Phasma because that's what it costs to import it. People are like, well, what the frig am I doing here? Like, I'm not buying that. Like, I can, you know, I'm not going to be able to get my $15 Black Series Chewy. You know, that's usually $45 here. Like that was the stuff that I gravitated to. Although I made the mistake of buying too many cheap ones and taking up precious space in the suitcase. Stuff that I wanted, but I'm looking back going, I did not need this Force Awakens Kylo or this, you know, Force Awakens Rey and BB-8 when I could have got, stuff that's harder to get, and I could have got a Thrawn or a Harrison jeweler or one of those sort of I'm just glad I got
I'm not.
You're not down with that?
No, I'm glad I never really jumped into that.
And I think I got a little caught up, just because there was so much stuff.
In the moment.
And I'm pretty good at I was a bit like, I'm only going to get the things I want.
Yeah.
And I was lucky to get the exclusives as well, but I did get a bit caught up going, I can just get them. Like, they're just here. I can get them. Like, it's not a freaking grind.
Yeah.
Or I've got to send away and spend all this money. Like, I'm not.
Yeah, no mail order for you.
No, I'm not. There's like a Black Series collection thing on Facebook that I'm a part of, and there's just dudes who are like, hey, I just ordered my my Jump Trooper for $75 from it's arrived from the US. I'm going, I got that for $21 when I was in San Francisco. I know the exchange rate's a bit different, but I'm going, I just would not.
But there's something cool as well about the hunt, the find. Of like going for a thing and picking something and being like, yes, please, you're coming home with me.
Well, that was the thing. Also, that was the on the preview day. I just sort of went, I've got 10 figures. How did that happen? Like, I had an extra bag that you gave me. I had a tote bag, and I went, oh god! And then I had to go back and go, all right, realistically, how much space have I got here?
Did I enable you by giving you that bag?
A little bit, because I had. My backpack was full because the first 2 days I was carting those beanies around a lot because I'd sort of given them to people at places the first two things, and I felt like I'd sort of given them to everybody, and then it was sort of periodically just handing them out as I saw people, and then as I got down about the last 10, then all of a sudden it was like, hey, you got those beanies? Or then it was, people sort of on the periphery as well, like, I probably should give them a beanie. I've seen them a few, I've interacted enough now, I know them, and everybody I know's got them. And, so then they kind of went quicker. But the first few days I was just walking around with this full backpack full of because it was cold. So I had like a jacket and a jumper. And then you got inside the convention center and you want to have your pass out and your T-shirts and you want to be rocking that. So you're just stuffing jumpers into bags and doing...
not going to be a problem in LA.
No. It'll be shorts and T-shirts.
Hawaiian shirt and...
I got my Lando Hawaiian shirt.
Damn
Hawaiian shirts. That's what we should make.
Hawaiian shirts.
With just the Blue Banther thing, and then because I'm thinking the great thing about not to go back, an hour's topic or whatever, but the thing with the beanies is great.
Rhymes.
They show up on camera and stuff, and you watch live shows, so something like that.
It's not the loudest. You got sort of just design a print.
Yeah,
and then
the loudest shirt.
We could actually,
if you planned ahead,
without the circle, just the horns and the
if you planned far enough ahead. You get them probably manufactured overseas pretty cheap if you did a bunch of them.
Yeah.
It's just getting them over there.
Yeah.
That was the thing. Like I had the suitcase and the whole bottom two-thirds of the suitcase was beanies in those suction vacuum bags. And then got them out, and then that was the space that I got back to put stuff in, basically.
I shipped the calico bag straight to the hotel.
Oh, right. Because you bought them in the...
Well, I just did them through this online print service thing, and they shipped to wherever I wanted. So I was like, all right, well, it costs $120 less to ship it within the US. So I was like, well, I will just ship it to the hotel. I called the hotel first. They were cool with it.
Yep.
And they held it for like a month and a half.
I thought about doing that.
That's great.
At the Airbnb.
It worked out real well.
Like when I was doing stickers and stuff, I was going, maybe I can... And there was some because there was a few last-minute TeePublic things that I did, and I'm going, I'm not going to have time. Maybe I can just have it delivered to the house. I'm going, I don't know. It's just going to turn up. Who knows?
Yeah.
Airbnbs are a bit more flaky on that kind of thing.
Yeah, well,
luckily, I'd sent stuff to Luke Cruiser from Bad Motivators. He just went, just send it to my work. I'm driving to Celebration. I'll just bring the bag of stuff. So that worked out quite well.
That's cool.
Now, you were talking about off mic for Anaheim potentially looking into getting your own little booth.
Well, someone suggested it to me or said it in passing. Maybe Turbo was there as well. And Sean, did I mention it to you? I don't.
No, only before.
Yeah, someone, I cannot remember, and I think it was on one of the last nights, just said, you Aussies, you should get a booth. You should get a booth next time. Now, I've just done that, and just saying Aussies, I'm thinking, who was saying Aussies specifically? I can't remember exactly who it was. But anyway, someone suggested it, and I didn't pay it any thought.
and then like the wheels started the mouse on the wheel started running.
Thinking about it, like everyone was gravitating around the Star Wars underworld.
Yeah,
like and that was kind of fun, like hanging out,
having
there.
like a little clubhouse kind of.
Yeah, and I thought maybe we should just go like a bunch of us, like us, yes, you,
yeah,
that geek pod maybe,
yeah,
just like and have. The Australia.
You've just got to put it under some sort of it's like the Australian Pink Floyd show, like the Australian Star Wars.
Yeah,
I don't know what the
global,
but I don't know what the criteria is. But like, if you're a fan group or you have to like, how does that work, or how they decide? But
I think we should look into it and like. Yeah, like we don't have to always be there 100% of the time. Like we can literally have like a little sign, like a whiteboard that stands up that just says we'll be back after the blah 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 panel, and
have a sticker.
Have a sticker in the meantime if we're not
don't
here.
Touch our shit.
Yeah. Like we won't leave anything valuable there, but like it could be cool because
I guess you'd need to get like a little, like a banner, or like I guess like what do you get? Do they just go, here's literally a piece of carpet?
It's tables basically.
Like, but do they even give you a table? Like, do you get a table? You know what I mean? Like where you get a pack of we'll have to go to like Home Depot the day before.
No, everyone had the same tables. I'm pretty sure. Like people were positioning their tables in different ways, but the tables looked from memory
just had a table.
The same table, like trestle table kind of thing.
Yes.
Now that I'm not a travel agent, my new job
is tables.
is working in tables. It's so one of the things we do a lot of conferences, and I set them up, and a lot of it is you kind of you pay a certain amount, and they say, okay, here's your booth. Do you want for extra? You can have this.
Yeah.
This. Do you want a title? Do you want your company name? Do you want banners? Do you want tables? Do you want chairs? Well, you always get a table and like 2 chairs.
Yeah,
and then you just add things on. So it might be like that.
And it's similar, like similar with my work. So like literally while I was away, our work organised a national conference, and I didn't have to do any work to get it organised. So I'm rapt about that. And then we've got another one coming up in October, and it's the same sort of deal. Like you have the default price and inclusions, and then it's extras. But I didn't see any real extras at those booths. So
they all fairly no frills, just sort of.
There were no frills.
They were especially the fan club ones were sort of just like your space is your space.
And everyone kind of had like
a banner behind them
that they brought themselves. You assume.
Yeah, and they just pinned up.
So you have to kind of think of some kind of. Like you got to kind of think of like what's a thing you can call yourself that tells people who you are, where you're from,
and that we're not there to fuck spiders.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say that, like, isn't embarrassingly Australian? Like, you don't have some big F off Australian flag on the top of the thing.
Like is it going to be Star Wars
like,
down?
True Blue are Star Wars fans. You know what I mean? Like, something that's not embarrassing. Like, it's
I think
cobbers
you do
of the
need
Empire.
To keep it, keep it
cobbers of the Empire.
Like Star Wars Down Under or something like that. Something that just sort of instantly says, it's Australia, but we can move.
I just like the idea that it's like the like I was saying, like the Australian Pink Floyd show. Like it's like it's almost like the Australian Star Wars show. Like you're like the crappy Australian version of the real thing. Like we're the Australian Star Wars show.
Oh, we could.
I'm Ozzy Gutierrez.
What if we could all have a day where we wear terrible tuxedos and dress up like Poiter?
Oh God! Well, that's
do you
the
know
thing.
Who
like,
Poiter is?
I do not know who.
So all right,
for your viewers, I'm not Australian.
So
listeners,
you know who Eric Banner is, though, don't you?
I do.
Yeah, it was one of his characters.
So before Eric Banner was a respected, he was a respected actor, he was a comedian.
Yep.
And Poiter was one of his characters who was this sort of really Aussie bogany kind of like, hey, you going, mate? Poiter kind of.
And he always wore a tux with like a bow tie and chain smoked cigarettes.
The mullet.
And he had a full. Do you know who Warwick Capper is?
No.
So he's like the quintessential Australian 80s football player.
Right.
And he was this loud, obnoxious, blonde, fringed, like Dave Mustaine, like Megadeth style 80s
tiny
mullet.
shorts.
And that was his thing. He wore that tiniest.
But he was an amazing player, though.
Great player. But he was to AFL what Pat Cash was to tennis in a sense. Like, very...
Bit of a rock star.
Yeah, the rock star version.
Yeah, he was like a bit of a George Best.
Yeah.
type. The money, the women, the cars. I don't think I want to dress up as Warwick Kappa.
I don't think we dress up as Warwick.
Well, the thing is,
Kappa,
I'm conscious of I'm conscious of I don't want to be the embarrassing Australia. I was conscious of that at Celebration last time. Like, I know we got bundled in. People were going, "Oh, the Aussies," but it was always like, "Oh, you guys are great. You're so enthusiastic. You're so positive."
Feedback on Australians in general was pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was, which was good because I wanted to, because people were like, you came all this way. Nothing got you down. It was easy to be positive, I guess, because we got into everything. So it was a bit of like, these guys lucked out. They got into all the panels and they got all, everything worked out for them. So I guess it's easier to be positive on that. But I think because it was all our first celebration, we were all just happy to be there.
Hype was high.
Like I found that the most cynicism that I heard. And I don't think this was from anybody that I interacted directly with. It was always sort of secondhand, standing behind someone in a line or in a store. Or it was always older dudes who had been to a bunch of them, who were just comparing this one to the last one, to why this wasn't as good as the last, or what was wrong with this, and whether this as a whole was a metaphor for the fandom passing them by, or they just, I don't know. Because, from most reports I heard, people were just like, wow, it was less lines, and that was good. I didn't spend my life in a line. And, I guess if some people are like, well, I would have gotten to episode 9 because I'm hardcore. I would have been there all night. And it's like, well,
they were obviously true fans.
Well,
yes.
I mean, it's funny, kind of like when they're saying, like, the ones previous were better. If you see a photo of the first one in Denver, it's a tent in a car.
It looks like the Woodstock 99. They all rioted.
Bad, doesn't it?
Yeah. Or Fire Festival or something.
Yeah.
Star Wars Fire Festival.
Yeah, but
the next one's going to be on an island.
I had a bit of cynicism behind me as well, and maybe it was the same old dude. I don't know, but there was this one old guy that was wedged behind me for episode 9 in the main hall, at the Star Wars show live stage. This dude is with his wife. I turned around, I couldn't even get a glance of him properly because of how crammed in everyone was, right? And he was kind of going in these emotional waves where he was like going, I'm just like really just disappointed in the way this is going, but it's just kind of a reflection of how they like mistreat the fans. But oh my God, I love Star Wars and I'm so happy to be here, but oh man, this sucks and just everyone can just piss off and oh my God, I can't wait for the teaser. And it was just like, I was like, make up your mind,
dude. Pick a lane, dude.
Like, what are you doing?
I just don't understand that concept that you're being mistreated as a fan, because I saw nothing but absolute fan service. We want to make you happy. We want you to love us. We love your
narrative. It's
the
bullshit.
fact that Celebration exists. Like, think of other things that you're a fan of, and do you get to go to a huge,
dedicated, one singular purpose festival, basically?
Even little things. Twin Peaks. I could go to the town of Twin Peaks, and they have Twin Peaks, like a little festival every year, and there's 100 people there, and it was big the year that the show came back. And it gradually will get smaller and smaller again.
Yeah.
But there's nothing like this.
No, I don't think Star Wars hates its fans. I think you hate their fans. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's on you. Like, it's you hate them because you don't see yourself in them, or you don't. They're not completely agreeing with you. Like, I just saw people along for the ride and having a great time, and really, it was funny because like I went to some of the toy panels, like the Kenner panels and stuff, and it was a sort of older crowd in there. But I'm just like, hey, there's a panel talking about guy photographing Kenner toys from the 80s. Like, there's still plenty of stuff here for you, dude. Like, that is, if that's your bag.
Yeah, there is so much service paid to older fans, and I think a lot of that whole narrative is just pushed online, and it's something that I'm seeing at the moment. Like, so we've been back now just over a week, and you sort of I think when we first got back, obviously it's all changed now because everyone's timelines is nothing but bloody Avengers Endgame. But before Avengers Endgame, and when we'd only had an episode of Game of Thrones to talk about, so the timelines of everyone that was Star Warsy that went to Celebration was, oh my God, this was amazing.
Yep.
Love, 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 love. And then there's the outliers, people that there's a couple of YouTubers. There's a particular Aussie YouTuber who I won't name, who's really like his whole Twitter feed is just pushing this one narrative of fan mistreatment, of disrespect, of all this stuff, but worded in such a way that is like, it is fact, this has happened, as though you could open a book and go, the great fan disrespect of 2017. I remember those days.
Yep.
And so you've got these people.
So then they frame a narrative of just like, oh, now they're responding to the thing that happened. And
And so I'm looking at this dude's tweets and his followers and blah, 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 and certain other commenters that pop up here and there, and they all say the same damn thing. And there is no frame, there's no reference, there's no links, there's no ability to actually, for anything that they say, for them to be able to call on it in any factual, verifiable way. Whereas all of us can say, yeah, we were at the thing. We saw this. Here's this thing we read. Here's this blah, blah, blah. It's bullshit. And you really felt that being there. And I think that was one of the biggest takeaways from Celebration, is that whole sphere of the fandom
is a small, self-serving little
and they
corner of...
Sean, we've discussed this, like particularly the YouTubers that we are algorithmically trying to fight against. And it's a uphill battle, like it really is, but like they can't stop.
No, I mean, it's that thing of once you've decided to go down that road and your whole thing is just hate, you can only continue.
Well, you planted that flag.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, they've gone so far down the rabbit hole. It's like, well, I can't change my mind now because I'll just...
Well,
I'll lose the... Yeah, well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, exactly. So there's so I've got to just push this thing until it kills me.
That particular YouTuber, like I remember post The Last Jedi, he went on record saying that's it, he's not going to talk about Star Wars anymore. And I remembered hearing him say that.
3, 2,
and I was like,
1.
Bullshit. It's, like you said, 3, 2, 1. And what do you know? Of course not, because his revenue is tied to inflaming this part of the fandom in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
He's got positive stuff as well, but he doesn't seem to have a damn positive thing to say about this thing that he apparently really loves.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I've got things that I could rant about and do. Like, I do. We did the other day. Sean wrote... What did you write? You wrote a review.
Oh, yeah, of that new the Vader comic, the Dark Vision.
Yeah, I haven't read it yet. I'm usually pretty up on the comics, but I just haven't.
Train wreck.
I haven't got around to it yet.
It's wild. It's a real wild ride. It's because by the time I'd even got around to reading it, I'd pretty much I'd read all the stuff about it on Twitter before I even got hold of it. And then when I read it, I was like, oh no, this is actually... Oh, God, it's such a train wreck.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
It's just every wrong decision.
I'll have to read.
It's
get on it. I sort of got the general gist, I think. But look, we were talking about this earlier. Celebration, I guess, is a microcosm, a little bit of everybody going yay, 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 yay. But I think it still speaks more volumes that people are going yay than people having
I mean, what is it? It's like 30 to 50,000 people. Like, isn't it like 30,000 could be there at any particular
30,000
day?
a day, I think they could get through.
50,000 tickets or something like that. I don't know what the exact number is, but we're talking in the tens of thousands. Our average reach in terms of who we can communicate with on Twitter is definitely not that. Yeah. Like, we see the same names, the same people pop up. It is a bubble. Like, that's the bubble. And that's the thing I think that event really reminds us all of.
And also, 80% of the people who go to see Star Wars don't care.
Yeah, well,
about
that's it.
they'll just go, oh, I go see Star Wars. It comes out because I like Star Wars. The happenings of these extreme fans, one way or the other, is really no concern of mine. I don't really care, and I'll just get on with my life. You know, like my best mate loves going to see Star Wars, but he wouldn't know what's going on. He's like, oh, I don't care. You nerds work it out amongst yourselves.
God, I'm envious in some respect. God, imagine
All right,
the
guys.
time we could have back.
Plug away. You've got like a 6-month plan.
Yeah, I think it's 6. Is it 6?
So let's give me the quick lowdown before we shoot off into the night.
Okay, so Blue Banther Milk Co., as well as our usual sort of live streams and video essays and things like that, we're starting a project. It's every 2 weeks. It's called The Road to 9, and we're going to look at the hype and the build-up to episode 9, and we're going to go back and rewatch all the old films and talk about them and have guests, and it's going to be a whole thing. And we're going to watch everything from Phantom Menace to Last Jedi and everything in between, including the holiday special, the Clone Wars, the Maul episodes, Rebels, the Maul episodes, Battlefront 2, and Shattered Empire, and
Shattered
everything.
Empire comic, yeah.
No Ewoks.
No
Caravan of
Courage.
Could be relevant.
It's a wild
coming
card.
into 9. Could be relevant.
Yeah, it could be.
Oh, yeah, true. You might need to get
You guys blew that. You're like, oh man, it was full of Ewoks. And
Well, I
we
do
didn't
have it
even-
on DVD. I've got both of them.
I've got it on DVD somewhere as well.
got the double pack,
maybe.
but-
Bonus episode.
Yeah.
Patreon.
See how much time
Patreon
you have.
episode.
Patreon episode.
There
We
you
need to
go.
start a Patreon.
Guys with free time on their hands right here. So we're talking.
No, there is no free time on our hands. We're just filling what no time we have with time of what? How I don't know where I'm going with
Gosh,
this.
it's not that late. You have
No, I haven't had any beer yet. Either.
No.
but no. So we're doing that, and I think that the very first episode has a certain guest on it. Who would that be?
I think that's going to be me, unless
Big JC.
check the footage.
Well, if you look
to
at
make
our
sure it
last
comes
video,
through.
I'm getting quite good at superimposing faces onto moving velociraptors.
Yeah. Well, I could
Yeah.
have a velociraptor on my head.
And yeah,
That'd be
you
cool.
sat fairly still on the couch, so I don't need to do that.
I've just sat myself. At least I didn't sit in front of a green screen. You just put
I don't
me
know.
in
Maybe I'll.
put me in a water park or something. I saw some Doctor Strange clip where
That is
they put
fantastic,
Doctor
isn't it?
Strange in a water park, which was quite funny. So
very good.
cool. Well, thanks for coming on, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
And you can catch all our stuff at StarWarsSpeltout.com. We've got T-shirts. I had another idea for a T-shirt the other day, so I think I'm going to put that up this week, depending how
Picture
quiet
of
it is at
Sean's
work.
face.
Yeah. You'll be on everybody's merch.
Nice.
And I think we'll just touch base with you guys periodically through the year, I think.
Great.
Yeah, I think so. Like I think particularly.
We'll be talking about celebration arrangements and things anyway. I think.
Yeah,
that's
like-
Yeah, I think we should probably do some live streams of us booking through travel agents.
Oh my God! Brings it all around. It's all connected. It's like poetry. It rhymes.
Yeah,
Nice.
we'll do video on our YouTube channel. It'll be great. Yeah. Cool.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.